foreign exchange and employment for the country. Also, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, requests banks to rebuild capital buffers to support operations.
The banking sector has shown some improvement with the half-year performance, despite the significant losses of last year.
Plus, Ghana Revenue Authority (GRA) laments many tax infractions are a challenge to revenue generation as it queries businesses for non-compliance.
Many of those who are not charging the VAT are also not compliant with other tax types.
I am Bismarck Hausa. Will bring you details after this break. Hello, good morning, and thanks for your company. To our very first story, the Ghana Chamber of Mines has underscored the need to protect the sector as it is a key source of foreign exchange and employment for the country. This comes after attacks on some mines across the country by community members, leading to the destruction of properties and the halting of operations of some facilities. Speaking during a Mining for Development Forum, the Chamber's CEO, Suleiman Akoni, said that the attacks were unfortunate and harmful to the mining sector in the country as a whole.
Asanko Gold Mines, a member of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, spent well over $500,000 to de-risk a portion of its concession through exploration prior to mining. While the work was ongoing, some persons invaded the area and have since annexed it as their own property. The mine has attempted umpteen times to evict the illegal miners without success. These hikes in security breaches impair the quality of mine assets in Ghana and raise the insurance premium, cost of credit, and replacement cost of equipment. Invariably, these culminate in an increase in the cost of production, with the government, community, and investors bearing the brunt of insecurity, foregoing potential revenue. Certainly, the opportunity cost of inaction is grave and warrants a renewed approach to tackling the menace. When an illegal miner is allowed to stay on a concession, he or she diverts public resources for personal use, which flagrantly violates the constitutional provision that the country's mineral endowments are publicly owned.
And that was Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Suleiman Akoni. Moving on, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, says banks need to rebuild capital buffers to support their operations. He was speaking at the launch of the 60th anniversary of the Chartered Institute of Bankers Ghana.
Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Ernest Addison, observed that the banking sector has seen some improvement.
The banking sector has shown some improvement with the half-year performance, despite the significant losses of last year. Looking ahead, banks are expected to rebuild capital buffers to support their operations. Let me take this opportunity to assure the public that the Bank of Ghana will continue to monitor developments and ensure strict regulatory and ethical compliance in the banking sector to ensure a stable and resilient financial system.
At the launch of the 60th anniversary of the Chartered Institute of Bankers Ghana, Vice President Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia commended CIB for the introduction of the Chartered Banker for Executive Leadership Program, as it will entrench professionalism in the banking sector.
The prosperity of the banking sector depends on ethical, trusted, and quality human capital. This is in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. The prosperity of our country and people depends on a strong financial sector. We cannot have a strong financial sector without trusted and qualified bankers.
CEO of CIB, Robert Jatto, noted that sustainability of the banking sector hinges on professionalism and ethics.
For the banking industry, ethics and professionalism is so important. In fact, it's linked to the sustainability, the safety of the entire financial system. That's really putting ethics on the agenda of banks and bankers. So it's very important. I think it's an imperative for all of us.
A report by my colleague Eben Ejekum-Boateng read to you. Moving on, the Accra Enforcement Team of the Ghana Revenue Authority (GRA) has queried businesses for too many infractions in the compliance of VAT. During the periodic checks and routine test purchasing exercise, Assistant Commissioner of the Accra Area Team, Joseph Anand, says the authority will apply the necessary penalties to culprits who are liable for the non-issuance of other tax stamps apart from the VAT.
We visited 9 places, and the names are Mott's Finest. They are not registered. Then from there, we went to A to Z Boutique. They are also not registered. We went to the Different Shop. They are not registered. Hills Lounge, not registered. La Mirage, they are registered, but they are doing selective issuance of the invoice. We went to Baridan Royal Hotel. There was no evidence of the VAT invoice, so we assumed that they are either not issuing at all or they are doing selective issuance. Then we went to AH Hotel. They are also doing selective issuance of the invoice. Then Ubi Secrets, they are not registered. Then we came to Home Essentials. They are also not registered. So, we visited 9 places, and they all have one infraction or the other.
The enforcement team is encouraging business owners who have not registered for VAT to do so or face the law.
The period that we have been on the field, we realized that many of those who are not charging the VAT are also not compliant with other tax types. That is why now we are going beyond just the test purchase to look at other tax types, because our collection is not based just on VAT, but it's based on all other taxes that are applicable to businesses. So now when we come to you, we'll look at other tax types that are applicable to your business. And once you are found not to be compliant, we'll make sure that whatever punishment by way of interest or penalty will be levied on you.
And that was a report by my colleague Nana Ekuya-Mensah Abrampa. We reminded that this is still the business news on Sunrise with me, Bismarck Ausa. To some other stories, Managing Director of Access Bank PLC, Olumide Olatunji, has admonished SMEs and entrepreneurs to always use loans from banks and other financial institutions for their intended purposes. This is coming on the back of concerns that loans are not used for their intended purposes. He called on entrepreneurs to allay their fears of sourcing financial assistance from financial institutions.
Once you take a loan from the bank, it's advisable to use it for the purpose that you took the loan for, and then the bank will be encouraged to give you more and more, and in that process you can grow your business. So this is Access Bank's demonstration to support the creative sector of the Ghanaian economy and to build capacity and financial inclusion and financial literacy.
And that was Managing Director of Access Bank PLC, Olumide Olatunji. Ghana's startup funding landscape declines to $25 million from $187 million raised in equity and debt deals during the first half of 2023, a downturn of 86%. This decline shows a potential shift in Ghana's startup ecosystem, prompting concerns within both the entrepreneurial community and among investors. This sharp reduction in funding comes on the heels of a vibrant 2022, marked by several significant deals that led to a total of $187 million raised. However, the dynamics appear to have altered significantly this year. The report by Innovation Spark attributed this change to global economic factors and pointed out that the increase in the US Federal Reserve's interest rates and inflation rates has had a cascading effect on cheap money, leading to a decrease in investments in Ghanaian startups. Before we go, let's take a look at how the cedi is faring against major trading currencies and how some key commodities are faring on the global market.
On the interbank foreign exchange market, where banks trade amongst themselves, the dollar recorded no price change and it's selling at 11 cedis 6 pesos. The British pound lost 4 pesos, selling at 13 cedis 80 pesos. The euro lost 2 pesos and it's selling at 11 cedis 86 pesos. However, be guided that these figures will be higher at a forex bureau near you. On the global commodities market, price of cocoa is down by 0.19%, selling at $3,649 per ton. Brent crude oil is down by 1.8%, selling now at about $92 per barrel, while the price of an ounce of gold is down by 0.53%, selling at about $1,912.
This has been the business news on Sunrise with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please log on to 3news.com. Sports is up next.